Hello and welcome everybody to 2002. Nike releases their first ever driver and it's super exciting. Now, in 2002, it's interesting. In my college, the discussion about music, all right? Now this broke down, and there's all sorts of interesting things going on. Like, popular music were like Gangsta Lovin', right? Eve. Or Avril Lavigne was huge, right? In 2002 with her Complicated Life, right? This is like... in my college, the people were calling her the anti-Britney, which is weird, and the theme, the idea was, we like Avril Lavigne because she's alternative, and Britney is pop culture. And then you ask, classes, you're like, all right, how many people like Avril Lavigne? And 95% of the people are like, we love Avril Lavigne, and then we're like, who likes Britney? Silence. There's always that one kid in the back who's like, leave Britney alone. It's interesting how music and pop culture kind of like, it's popular because it's not popular, but it is the most popular music. Well, Britney was popular with 7-year-olds, whatever. I don't know how it works, but it's funny how there's that disconnect. And Nike comes out on the scene with their drivers. Tiger Woods is flying high, and Tiger Woods took one look at this and was like, ha ha ha, take this back to the research lab and make it work, Everybody was like, ooh. So it is interesting that Nike came out with this driver and that it's made out of steel. But let's talk about some identifying features on the review table. These can be kind of tricky to identify if they're not all right next to each other. The initial 2002 release, they look very similar. However, a key difference is right here on the sole by the toe. This one says steel. The 275 says 275cc and the 350 says nothing. And so it's just kind of interesting. So there's that little label right there, steel. And then we move down to the center of the sole where we have the Nike swoosh with this, it looks like a rear view mirror to me. It's like a rear view mirror pattern with kind of these horizontal blinds on it. That's what it looks like to me. And maybe it's 30 years of driving. It's making me say that. It's also interesting, these little like little punches right here, making it look like it's some sort of industrial made, like they were staked or something, which they're not. It's just molded in there. And then we have a 9.5. That's the loft on the club head. These stickers, I think these were the stiff regular flex. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what those were. And I can't read that one. A flex, is that senior flex? No idea. And then you spin around the skirt and you see this interesting wave pattern here around the skirt with this dark navy pattern. And then the face texture starts here around the side of the toe all the way through this very good looking face. And again, forged right here. Interesting groove pattern. The Hosel, again with these little stakes. It looks like it's been staked, but obviously it's not. This shaft has been glued in. And it looks like there's a serial number right here on the Hosel as well. The ferrule right here. There's some residual white glue. Maybe this has been shifted and it's been pushed back. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, plain black ferrule on this one. We move up to this lightly stepped shaft with no labels on it. I know it looks like this is factory, but this is, in fact, my edition to remind me what year it is. So you're not going to... here is the Nike branded grips, kind of a Tor Velvet style grip. I love these Nike grips. And this one has this lovely... This is one of the things that Nike did the best is branding. And this right here, this textured 3D Nike logo on the butt is absolutely wonderful. I love that little plastic butt cap. So it looks like a very reasonable steel driver. Let's get this out. I've actually already hit this. Let's show you the footage of me hitting this on the range. So this feels like any other steel driver from the era, right? I'm thinking Tommy Armour. I'll probably make a video about that one too. But it's just a steel driver, which in 1979 would have been considered pretty revolutionary. But in 2002, it's just Nike being greedy. It's the marketing department making decisions, not the engineers. Well, we just need a cheaper version because you see the pie of golfers? We want all of it. We don't want one, just this section. We want the whole pie. That's Nike's motto there. Just eat the whole pie. So it's made out of steel. And like, you remember how we talked about music earlier? This is not popular in the golf world, okay? It's like, the analogy is like, this is the Britney Spears of golf drivers. And it's supposed to be popular because it's Nike, the biggest brand ever on the planet, in the universe. And it's not really loved by golfers. You can get these for like less than $50 shipped to your door on eBay. At the making of this video, prices and availability subject to change. It's just whatever's out there. But this, it was like $25 plus $11 shipping plus tax. You're like 40, whatever it is, 40 some odd bucks, and you're just like, oh sweet, I'm into a Nike driver. Can I play this club? Yes. And this is where, and so this isn't that popular, but it is the Nike big brand, which is interesting. It's interesting how golf flips that on its head. So, that said, do I want this club? And to answer that, as usual, I'm going to be two-faced, all right? There's two sides to the story. Number one, this is the first Nike driver that ever came out. So now that you can get a complete Nike set, you can get Nike woods, you can get Nike irons, you can get a Nike putter. Would that be cool? Yes, that would be awesome. But how high up on my list is that? I'm going to say some names here. Would you rather have a 2002 Callaway set? What about Ping? What about TaylorMade? All those names for me personally are higher on the list. It's like, I'd rather have a TaylorMade set. Yeah, I'd rather have a Callaway set. Yeah, I'd rather. And it's like, where does this fall in? Is it 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th? There are some interesting clubs that came out in 2002, not some steel reject from the biggest brand on the planet. So you can see where I'm going with this. It's an enigma. Conversely, this is a reasonable driver. I could learn to play this driver pretty well. If I had spent my whole budget on irons and putter and I just needed a driver, I changed the article to emphasize the blahness of it. It's just an driver. Why would I not go with this for $50? Am I going to spend 3 times how much? What if I don't have $150 in my budget? All of a sudden, this is right there available. It has the Nike swoosh. Put that in your bag. Nobody's going to complain. They're going to run up to it and be like, oh, cool, Nike, And after a year, a season, you can replace it, when you have more funds. So getting on the golf course, yeah, this is an affordable option. But as a collectible, it might have some value as well for you, and everybody's different. But me personally, it's not that high on the list. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Nike 300cc steel driver. I'd like to thank my patrons for all of their support. I accept general support on Patreon. I like to post occasional updates, pictures, and message back and forth with my patrons. You can also support this channel by visiting my Amazon shop. I'll put a link in the description below. I am an Amazon associate. I make proceeds from qualifying purchases. Thank you so much for watching. I am the Vintage Golfer.